Welcome to the Love in Action podcast. I'm your host, executive coach, speaker, and author, Marcel Schwantes. I believe that when we show up with our full humanity to work and lead from a place of love, joy, purpose, care, and inclusion, it's going to make a radical difference in your leadership, your business, and your bottom line. This is a show about actionable, practical love, the verb, as a leadership and business strategy. Let's get rolling. Ever been in a situation where everything's uncertain and you're just waiting for the fog to clear? Maybe it's a market shift, a leadership shakeup. You've lost a couple of VPs and now everyone's freaking out. Or maybe a board decision came down the pipe that could make or break your team or a company morale. Most leaders, CEOs, they freeze in those moments. They wait for the right time to act. That may not be a bad thing unless you're doing it because of fear. If fear is causing you to not act, you're going to fall for the trap of procrastination, waiting for that perfect moment to get clarity on the situation because you're afraid to act now. And that moment of clarity never comes. In the meantime, people around you, they lose confidence in you. So I want to talk today about a skill that I'm seeing more leaders missing these days: courage. Now, bear with me here because this is going to challenge some of you. Here's the thing. Courageous leaders, they don't wait for clarity. They create it. Courage doesn't mean you're fearless. It means that you move forward with the fear because there's something bigger at stake. And that's really what separates leaders who get stuck from leaders who lead amazing transformation despite the fear. So here's the good news. Courage is not a personality trait that you either have or you don't. It's a skill. I mentioned it. And like any skill, you can develop it. So today, I want to talk to you through 5 practical ways to do that. These are examples straight out of my coaching sessions. And I'll share a few quick stories of leaders out there that you may know who've done it quite well. Act with courage. So my first tip is reframe fear through story. Courage starts with the story that you're telling yourself. If your inner narrative is, this is out of control, I'm powerless, your brain's going to hit the brakes. But if you can reframe those thoughts, those stories playing in your head, for example, hey, this is a mission. This is my chance to step up. This is exactly why I'm here. If you can reframe things that way, everything changes. So when chaos hits, I want you to look for patterns. Maybe ask yourself, hey, what's the bigger story here? So one leader that I coached last year, I'm going to call her Maria. She was promoted into a VP role right as her department lost 2 key clients. And, she could have gone into damage control mode, but instead she framed that moment as a reset, a chance to rebuild the client base with better fit partners. That reframing gave her energy and direction. And within 6 months, Maria landed 3 new contracts. Here's my second tip. Build confidence deliberately. Confidence is, it's not magic. You have to build it, right? And the way to build it is through building your competence, because competence leads to better confidence. When you're good at something, you're naturally more willing to take bold steps. So think about this great example. How many of you remember Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger? Sully. He was that pilot who safely landed a disabled plane on the Hudson River. The image is crystallized in my head. If you want to Google that, just Google Captain Sully, Sully, and you'll see images of it online of the airplane that he landed. So do you guys think that was luck? No, it took decades of Captain Sully drilling emergency procedures and doing it over and over until they became instinctive. So when the moment came, he didn't freeze. He acted. Okay, you may not be landing planes right into the Hudson River. I get that. But you can practice your own version of, may I call it, flight simulation. What you want to do is you want to research. You want to study best practices. Find out what kind of leaders are becoming really successful in uncertain situations. Maybe you want to role play tough conversations that you're going to need to have. And you want to get used to expanding your problem-solving toolkit. So that means that the more prepared you are, whatever techniques that you need to use to build your confidence, the more naturally courage is going to flow your way. My third tip is take action, even if it's small. One of the biggest myths about leadership that I get this a lot from my clients is that you need to see the whole path before you start on your journey. And you don't. You just need the next step. So think of it like headlights in the fog, right? You can only see a little ahead, but it's enough to keep moving. There is a startup founder that I know. I'm going to call him James. He launched his company during an economic downturn. Investors told him to wait for, quote, better timing. Instead, James decided to test his product, and he tested it with just 10 customers. That tiny action led to amazing feedback, which then led for him to improve his product, which then led to early revenue. He never had the perfect plan. He just had the willingness to take the next step. Take action, even if it's small. My fourth tip is you have to rely on other people. Okay? Courage does not grow in isolation. It grows in connection. So when you hit a wall, you want to lean on your allies. Seek out the people who are going to give you honest feedback, who are going to lift you up, encourage you, and provide you with resources. One leader I work with, former client of mine, I'm going to call him David. He was trying to drive a major cultural shift inside a large organization. And, it was messy and he got a lot of pushback. So he built a small coalition of trusted managers across different departments, cross-functionally. And they met weekly to troubleshoot and encourage each other. And without that support, David told me once, he admitted that he might have quit and left the company. So he surrounded himself with a small coalition of trusted people to help carry him across. My fifth tip is a simple one. Stay calm. When fear spikes, because fear does come, when fear comes your way, so do a lot of emotions that you may not want. And emotions can hijack your thinking. So that's why your ability to regulate yourself, to stay grounded, is critical. This is all about your emotional intelligence. Here's an example. Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo, she once shared that during these incredibly tense board meetings, she had a ritual. She would press her fingertips together under the table as a reminder to herself to stay present and composed. And that little tiny action helped her to kind of slow her breathing and think clearly before speaking. So for you, what might be your micro ritual? Or maybe even, I don't know, do you need to go out for a morning run? Do you need to journal? Practice mindfulness? Take a few deep breaths before making that tough call? Staying calm and poised during those tough moments is really about being steady enough to act with intention rather than react. So in closing this episode, here's the bottom line, folks. Uncertainty isn't the enemy. Uncertainty is really the arena where courage is built. If you can reframe the fear, grow your confidence, take that next step, no matter how small it is, lean on your people and stay calm, you're going to be the leader who creates clarity when everyone else is waiting for it to appear. And that's the kind of leadership the world needs right now. If you want to dig deeper with me, book a call and let's talk about how you can build the skill of courage. My calendar link will be on the show notes, which you can find on my website, marcelschwantes.com. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Love in Action podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it, subscribe, and leave us a review. Until next time, don't forget, the future of leadership is love in action. Believe it, practice it, and watch your leadership and business flourish.